it's Juliet here. I'm super excited about today's video. So as you know, if you follow my channel, every year I do a holiday kind of Christmas themed little ornament, or I guess little charm. And this year I came up with this cute little nutcracker who is so cute. They're not very big at all. They are only like 30. This one is about 32 millimeters. This one's a little bit bigger. He is about 35, maybe 36, which is only like 1.25 inches. So you could totally use them as an earring. So the reason this one's a little bigger is because I used round beads here. I used 11/0 rounds on his jacket. This one I did all in 11/0 Delicas. This one has 11/0 rounds for his jacket because I don't have any red Delicas. So you can do either. Just be aware that they are a little bit smaller if you use the Delicas. I'm going to list all the materials, in the description for the video, and also you'll see things going across the screen as they come up. So I'm just going to get started because this takes a little while, this project. So the first thing I have is a headpin and a 4mm fire polished crystal, and it does not matter what color it is. This actually goes inside the hat, so you will not even see it. So what you need to do here is make a wrapped loop. So if you have some round nose pliers, or just leave a little bit of space, so you don't want it to be right up against it, because you want the beads to be able to fit in around the top. So bend your wire, then kind of move your plier a little and make a loop, okay? And then you just wrap it around like maybe twice. Make a little curl at the top there. That looks good. And then just snip off the extra with some flesh cutters, and we will use that later. I'm just going to tuck that end in. I just need to tuck this little end in right here. There we go. All right, so see how I've left a little gap here for the beads to fit around the wire, but that will be how we are able to hang it either on your little miniature Christmas tree or on your earring, or whatever you're going to hang it on. Okay, so that is ready. So the next thing is I'm using 6-pound Fireline and smoke, and I have on my needle about 4 feet. We're going to leave a 4-inch tail at the end. We're going to pick up 2 11/0 Delica in whatever color you're using for the trousers of your little soldier, and we're going to pick up 1 Superduo. So just whichever hole you want, doesn't matter. Push those down and leave enough of a tail to weave in at the end, so sort of 4 to 6 inch tail. Okay, so then when you're coming out your Superduo, you're going to go in the other hole, the second hole of your Superduo. And we're going to add a little gold buckle or whatever this is on his shoe. It just kind of makes it look a little fancy. So get a gold 15/0 and then go back down the same hole of the Superduo. And these are just loose right now. Okay, so once that is on, you can kind of adjust it so it sits the way you want it to sit. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to go up the heel. I'm going to call that the heel of the boot, and then up the two 11-0 Delicas. All right, so here is his first foot. Okay, now we're going to pick up 4 of our 11-0 Delicas and push those down. So these are the 4. So where your thread's coming out, you're going to go into the those 2 where your tail is coming out from. Okay, so sew into those middle 2. And these 2 should fold over. It should make a square, like so. If your square is far away from your boot, that's okay. You can just slide it down with your nail so that it is scrunched up next to it. Okay, so then we're going to pick up 2 more of our Delicas and go down the opposite 2. Okay, so go down those 2, and what will happen is one should kind of go on each leg. All right, I'm gonna need to squish this down a bit more. Hang on. You don't want any slack at this point, so make sure that it's all bunched up nicely. Okay. All right, so now we're going to pick up 2 more of our Delicas and then pick up his other foot. So the second Superduo for his foot. So here is his other foot, and go up the front of his foot, so the opposite hole. Okay, and make sure you pull so that that is snugged up against your Delicas there. No gaps. And again, a 15-0 in gold. We're going to go into the same hole that we're coming out of at the moment to put his other buckle on his shoe. Okay, so there we go. And then we're going to go up his heel and up the 5 Delicas on that leg, if you want to call it a leg. Okay. All right. Now we're going to add 2 more of our Delicas. And we're going to go down to the top 2 of the opposite side. Okay. Oops. Getting looped around some stuff here. And then, so we're coming out the 3rd bead on this side, so we need to go into the 3rd bead on this side and all the way up to the top. Oops. If I can get all the way up, there we go. Alright, and don't worry if your feet are turning around, they will eventually kind of stay in place. Then we're going to pick up 2 of our jacket color. Now these are not actually seen. In fact, I might pick up another color just to make it easier for you to see what is going on. Let me pick up I'll pick up 2 of these gold. Okay, so pick up 2 jacket color, but just so you can see, I'm going to pick these up. And then we're going to go down the 2 opposite there. Okay, so we have 1 on each, on the top of each leg, and then we're going to go up the 2 on this leg. Okay. And make sure you don't get caught between his legs, or you'll have a thread going around these beads, which you do not want. Okay, and then here we're going to try and turn these 2 beads that we just added on in our jacket color sideways like this. Okay, so we want them to be sideways. And go ahead and go through those. Now we're going to pick up 4 of our jacket beads. So I'm using 11 rounds. You can use 11 rounds or Delicas. So I'm coming out the left hand side. I'm going to go into the right hand side of these 2. Okay. And it's going to just make a little loop. Then I'm going to pick up 4 more. Again, I'm coming out the left hand side. I'm going to go into the right hand side. Okay, so we should now have 8 little beads going kind of in a circle around those 2 at the top of his legs. All right, so go ahead and go into these, pick what direction to go. I'm going to go to the front, so I'm going to go into the first 2 beads, and then I'm going to pick up 2 more 11 of the same color, and I'm going to go into those beads again, going in the same direction that I just went in. And that is going to create like 2 extra little beads sticking off to the side. Now move forward through the next 2 on that horseshoe and pick up 2 more and go through those again in the same direction you're working. So if you went backwards, just work in the same direction, okay? And then I'm going to go into the next 2. I'm going to pick up 2 more and go through those 2 again. And one more time into the next 2. Pick up 2 more, go into those 2 again. Okay, so you should have something that kind of looks like this, right? So go into the next 2, just to close that side up here. Now we're going to flip these down, and these are going to become like his coat skirt, I guess is the best way to describe it. So I'm coming out of these 2, I'm going to go into the bottom. So just loop back around and go into the bottom, but this time I'm going in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to loop into the bottom of these 2. And this is going to start to pull these down around his legs. So just go into all 4 of those. going to go into the first two again, just to close the gap at the front. Okay, so the theory behind this soldier's body is that he has 8 beads on his body, 2 in the front, 4 in the front, 4 in the back. Okay, so these are the first 2 rows. So we've just completed the bottom row. Now you'll see here that there is a gap. That's okay for the sides, but we don't want a gap on the front or the back. So we need to fix that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the next 2 on his back. Plus, I'm just going to turn this over so you can see. So see, this is a gap in the middle of his back. I'm going to go into 1 more. So the first 3 on his back. And then I'm going to go up into the bead above it and 1 more. So I'm just going through the middle 2 of the 4 on his back and just lashing those 2 together. Then I'm going to go back down into the bottom 2 below the 2 that I just did. So I'm making sure that the back has no big gaps in it, okay? Now I'm going to move forward 1 and then flip over to his front. And again, see, he's got like 2 beads, then a big gap, and then 2 more. We need to close that gap as well. So do the same thing, go through the first 3 beads. And then jump up to the upper row and go through those 2 middle beads that are like far apart from each other. I've got a little loop, there we go, in my tail. Okay, and then go back down through the 2 below it, and that'll fix that gap. So it's okay to have a gap on the side because his arms cover it on the final thing. And then we need to move forward 1 bead to get to the edge of the front. Okay, so this is his front, that's his back. All right, so now we need to add on his belt. So I'm going to move up here to the next layer and work back the opposite direction. So I was going this way, now I'm going to go this way. So go through the first 2. Now for his belt, on my blue one that I made with Delicas, I actually used 15 O's on his belt. But on this one, because the rounds are larger, I just used 11 O Delicas. So I'm just going to pick up Delicas here because I want him to match. So 2 11 O Delicas. So these are the 2 I just went through. I'm going to go through those 2 again. Oops. And they need to just sit on top of the red beads like that. Okay. And I'm going to go through the next 2. Oop. Pick up 2 more Delicas. Okay, I'll turn him over onto his back. Go through the next 2. Two more Delicas. And the last 2 on his back. And Okay, so now I'm going to move up a layer. So this is his back. I'm going to lash all 4 of those together. So just go through all 4, turn him over, and go through all 4 of the front ones. And I'm going to go through all 4 of the back ones one more time. Okay, so those are all tied together now. Okay, so don't worry about his feet right now. When we tie this tail in, we can kind of fix them a little bit if we need to. They do, once you're done with it, they kind of stay where you put them. So like they can move around, but they kind of don't. So, all right. So now the rest of his body has 3 layers. So what I did was the first layer is plain red. The second layer has this little embellishment where his uniform stuff is. And then the third layer is just plain red, and obviously the back is plain. So we're just going to do basically exactly the same thing again. So you just pick up 2, and whatever 2 you've just come through, go through those again, go into the next 2. So this is kind of like square stitch, but working in sets of 2 instead of 1 at a time. I mean, you could do 1 at a time, but this is quicker. So I'm doing the quicker version. Okay. So now I'm going to move up a layer. So go into those 2 that I just added, and I'm going to go all the way around and tie those all together. So every layer you have to kind of go all through all of them to make sure that they are all stuck together. Okay, and on the sides. All right, so now this layer is the layer where we have some embellishment. So this is the front of him. So I'm going to pick up 1, let me think about how, okay, if I'm gonna go in this way, all right, so I need to pick up 1 red and 1 navy blue, and I'm going to go into those same 2 again, and those will sit like that. Okay, so the little gold one in the middle I add afterwards, so don't do that one yet. All right, so then I'm going to move forward again through the next 2. So this is now his back, so I can just do 2 red. And then move forward again. Two red. And then move forward again. And here I need to do a blue and then a red. And if you're confused, just think about it's going to be like that. So, all right. So that is that layer. So here I'm going to move up through the 2 I just added. And then I am going to lash his back all together. I don't know, maybe there is another name for this stitch. It's kind of like square stitch, but. And then here I'm going to add 115.0 in between just to be like a little button. And this will also help his chest like be a little bit bigger. See, kind of looks cuter with a little button on him. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to move up again. So the top layer is just all the jacket color. So what I do is I treat this gold one like it's part of these blue beads. So I go through it here, and then I also go through it when I do the next layer. So go through, add 2, go through the next 2, add 2 more, go through the next 2, add 2 more, and on this last one you're going to go through 3 because you're going to also go through the gold, so the gold is shared by both sides, and go through the entire front here. Okay, now I'm going to move up and lash the top layer together. So just go through all 8 top beads. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to add his arms. Actually, no, we're going to add his head first. So his head is a 6mm pearl. So coming out the front of one side or the back of one side, you're just going to go into the front of that side again. Okay. And you are going to see threads here, but you won't see it at the end because he has hair. So the hair will cover up the threads on the side of his head. So just try and get it as even as you can, and then go through the back. Okay, and then go through the pearl again. And through the back again. Okay, so its head is held on at the front and at the back. Okay. Alrighty, now we're going to add his arms on. So his arms are 5 seed beads long plus a hand or glove. So here I made him have little navy blue gloves. Here he's got little white gloves. So whatever color you want. So 5 seed beads plus whatever the hand is. And then the way you actually attach it on is we're going to just sew under this bottom thread on the sides here. Okay. And then we're going to sew back up through his arm again. And then we're going to sew into the front of his body. Okay, so there is one little arm. And he has these like epaulette things on his shoulder as well, which we'll do in a second. All right, so then his other arm. So 5 seed beads plus his hand. So through under that thread at the bottom. And then just go right back up through the 6 beads. And then go through the back. Okay, so that he's got his little arms on now. So now we need to do his little shoulder epaulettes, and we're going to start his hair and his beard. All right, so I'm coming out the back here. So I'm going to actually back out by 1 bead. Okay, so when I did that arm, I should have just gone through 3, not 4. Okay, so I'm coming out from the 3rd bead. So I'm going to pick up 5 15-0s in the galvanized gold, and then I'm going to go into not this first bead, but the 2nd bead on his front. The 2nd and 3rd, so the 2 middle beads. Okay. And don't pull too tightly. Just kind of see how it sits, because you might need to jiggle it around. So I don't recommend pulling these too tightly at this point. Okay. Then pick up 5 more. And again, we're gonna skip the end bead, skip the first bead on the back, and we're just going to go through these 2 middle beads on the back. Okay, so there are his little shoulder epaulets. Okay, now I like to lash them onto his arms so that they're not flapping around. So the way I do that is I go through the first 3 and I go down his arm. And this also helps reinforce his arm. Again, don't pull too tight here. So under that thread that's there, and then go back up his arm. Oops, got looped around his leg. Okay, and then, so I came through these 3, but I want to go into that one again and through the first 2. So I'm again going through 3. So this top bead, this middle bead, sorry, was shared twice, basically. All right. So now I'm going to go through those 2 middle red beads again. I'm just going to try and get his shoulder things. All right, so go through 3, go down his arm, loop around the thread at the bottom, go back up his arm, and go through 3. So that middle bead was sewn through twice. Okay. All right. He's looking cute. Okay, we're now going to pick up 3 black 15 O's for his to begin his hair, and we're going to go into his epaulette again. Okay, That is the beginning of his hair. Just carry on through. And here on the front, we are going to pick up one of the 15 O's. We're going to pick up our other white pearl seed bead, 11O, and one more 15O. So this is like his jaw, I guess. And I'm going to go through the epaulette on this side. And this will all get pulled up. So right now it looks a little low. It's going to move up. Okay. So move forward until you get to the second of the three black beads, or his 3 15Os on his hair. Okay, so come out the second one. And now we're going to start a herringbone kind of stitch. So we're going to pick up 4 15Os. Okay, so you've picked up 4. And you're going to go into the second epaulette bead. Then you're going to pick up 4 more. And you're going to go into the one just the second to last epaulette bead. Okay. Then I'm going to pick up 2 more. I'm going to go into his nose or jaw, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Pick up 2. Go into the second gold bead. Pick up 4. Go into the one just before the last bead. And pick up 4 again. And go into, so this set of 3 black beads here, you're going to go into the middle one, the second one. Okay, so this is the beginning of our herringbone hair here. So now you're going to travel up the first 2 beads of what we just added of these 4. You're going to travel up 2. You're going to pick up 2 more, and then you're going to go down 1. Okay. Then you're going to go into the second of this bit of 4 here. You're going to go into the second bead. Pick up 2 and go down the 3rd bead and the 4th bead. Okay. So see how we're kind of starting a herringbone here? Then we're going to go into the top 2 mustache beads and through his jaw. And again, go through the top 2 mustache beads and through the first 2 black beads on this side. Okay. Then we're going to add up, we're going to pick up 2 more 15 O's, going to go down 1. Then we're going to, in this loop of 4, we're going to go into the second bead. We're going to add 2, and we're going to go down 1. Okay, so can you see that a herringbone kind of pattern is appearing here? Now we're going to add 1 extra bead here, just to fill in the back of his head so he doesn't have a bald spot. So just pick up 1 bead, then go into the top bead on the next strand, go into the second from the top bead. So you're going to go through basically these 2. So if you can see, there's 3 going down, then there's this middle one, and then there's 3 going up. I'm going into these 2 that are going up. And I've got my thread on the wrong side. There we go. Okay, so there is the bead that I added to fill the little gap at the back of his head. All right, so again, we're going to pick up 2 more. We're going to continue our herringbone, so go down 1 bead. Then go into the top bead of these, just the top bead. And kind of pull, and you'll see it start to pull together like that. Go through 2, pick up 2, and then you're going to go down. Let's go down 2 here. What I want to do is kind of pull this mustache more over. So I'm going to go through the first top black bead and then the bottom. Okay, see what I'm doing? And this is really pulling his hair inwards. And then I want to kind of lash this to his uniform. So I'm going to go through these 2 red middle uniform beads. Okay, and then I'm going to go through the bottom black bead and the second black bead there on his mustache. A very fine mustache it is too. If you're still watching, thanks for sticking with me. All right, you're gonna go through the top 2. Okay, and then we're gonna pick up 2 more. We're gonna go down 1. We're gonna go up the next 1. And we're gonna pick up 2 more. We're gonna go down 1. Okay, so now his hair is even all the way around. So we're coming out the second bead on this side. We're going to jump up 2 beads, the top 2 beads on the next side of his hair here, okay? And this should start to pull in. So now we're going to add this like gold band around his hat. So for that I used 11 Delicas. And we're going to basically do the same thing. So we're just going to add a row of herringbone on top. So pick up 2 11/0 Delicas, go down the first bead. And then go up the next top bead. Oops, sorry about that. Pick up 2 more. Go down the next bead. Now, as you can see, we have a problem because we have no more beads. That's okay because he has a brim of his hat here, which you can't really see on this one because I did it the same color as the hat. If I do another, I think I'll do a contrasting color there, but like here I did a contrasting color. So I'm just going to pick up 3 of the color of his hat, which is the same color I used for his trousers. Okay, so 3 11/0 Delicas, and then I'm just going to go into the top of the next strand. That is going to be the brim of his hat. And then I'm going to just continue on. Whoops, those are the wrong gold beads. Going to continue on with my herringbone. Make sure you pull to get rid of any slack. So his hair needs to start pulling in around his head more. And then go up the next 2 more. Down. Okay, so we're back where we started. So we always start in the middle of his head here. So I'm going to go up this black one right here because I'm coming out the black one on this side and into his hat band. Now this is, as you can see, all loose, so we need to tie it all together. So the way I do this is I just go up and down each one, and it just kind of helps hold them together a little bit better. See the difference? And obviously at the front here we're going to need to add something on. So the way I did this was I just did a ladder stitch. So just pick one up. If you're coming out the top, you go in the bottom. If you're coming out the bottom, go in the top. So there is one. Then go down the one that I've just put on. So here I'm coming out the bottom, so I'm going to go in the top. So that's 2. Go into that one. Oops. This is a little bit funky right now. And then I'm going to do one more. So you're going to add 3 ladder stitch. Loose beads on. This is very bad. This looks terrible. I'm so sorry. The pressure of being on video is too much for me. Okay. And then I'm just going to, so I'm coming out the bottom, I'm going to go into the top of that bead, and then I'm going to go back and lash these together better. And the way I do that is I go into the next bead over, and then I'm actually going to go through this Delica at the bottom, like his hat brim Delica. And then I'm going to go up here. And then I'm going to go down here. And then I'm going to go through this hat brim Delica again. And this is just connecting it all together a bit better at the front here. All right, now I need to finish fixing this side, so I'm just gonna wiggle back over. Might go through this middle Delica this time, just for fun. Okay, and then just continue going up and down until it looks pretty even. Okay, not bad. All right, so now we just need to do his, the rest of his hat. So his hat is basically, there are 11 beads in here, which is an odd number. So we're gonna do herringbone, but obviously it's an odd number. So when you get to the end, you're going to have one gap. So you're gonna pick up 3 instead of 2 to step up. And just keep going until you have 3 layers of hat. So 1, 2, and 3 layers of hat. So I'll show you how I'm doing this. Let me come out of the top of one of the beads. And it doesn't matter which bead. So you're going to pick up 2, and you're going to go down the next bead. You're going to go into the next gold bead, going up the way. Go down. Now, as you can see, there is 1 bead left here. So when I go up that one, I need to pick up 1 to fill this gap, plus the next 2. So I'm going to pick up 3. Okay. And then I'm just going to go down the next blue bead. And I'm going to keep going, except I'm going to be going in the blue beads instead of the gold beads. Okay, so again, I'm at this gap here where there is only 1 left. So I'm going to pick up 3. 3. And then I just go down. And actually, I'm going to go down to both of the blue strands here just to help sort of straighten these all out a little bit. Okay, so I've got my 3 layers and I've got 1 missing here. So I'm just going to add that on. down this one. If I can get out. Okay. On the back of his head, if you look, you'll see that this middle bead and this middle bead is the middle of his head right here. Okay. So I need to be coming out of one of these two strands, I guess. So I'm going to go down this one, and then I'm going to come out the next one, and that will be one of those two. Okay, so I'm coming out of one of these two here. Yes? So the way this works is we're going to make 4 peaks. So one of them is going to be between these 2 beads. The others are going to then skip every other bead. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up 3 of our Delicas. So whichever one you're coming out of, you're going to go down into the next one. And what I like to do is go down 2, just to help certify it. So certify, is that a word? So you should have a little triangle like this. Then go up the next 2. And again, pick up 3, 1, 2, 3. But this time we're going to skip the next row. So here I'm coming out these 3. I'm going to skip this row, and I'm going to go down the 2 of the next row. And then I'm going to come up the very next row to that. Oops. I'm going to pick up 3 again. And then I'm going to skip the next row, and I'm going to go down the next row. So again, making a little peak. Then I'm going to go up the very next row. And I'm going down 2 just to kind of help the beads stay in nicer rows, I guess is the best way to describe it. I don't know what is going on with the front of this hat here. It's funky. Okay. So last peak, we're going to pick up 3, and then we're going to skip and go down. Okay. Now we're going to go up to the point, the first point that we made. So just travel up until you get up there. Okay, so here I am coming out this point. This little charm that we made at the beginning, we're going to pop this in his hat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tighten up the 4 points of the peaks. So we're just going to run from one point to the next point to the next point to the 4th point. And we're going to pull all of that in around his around the wire. So where's the 4th point? I think it's this bead here. And then what I do is I run around this several times. Now, as you can see, my thread's getting really short, and I need to actually add the feather on his cap as well, so I will come back in a second, but just run around a few times and then make your way down to, so that you're coming out of the center of his hat, the gold bead at the center, you're coming out in this direction, going up. So I'm gonna just finish this off screen. Okay, so I am coming out of the gold Delica that is in the middle of his hat. So I know it's the middle because it's this peak, it's directly below it, and it's also right above the three of his visor brim. So I'm coming out the top. We're going to add on his feather. So to do this, we're going to pick up 5 beads, and I actually only have 2 left, so I just need to pour a few more out. Okay, so pick up 5 beads of whatever color you want his feather to be. And then you're going to go back down through the bottom 2 and back into that gold. Okay. And just pull that. Oops, don't get it looped. And you should get a shape a bit like that, like a little cross thing. And then what I did was I went up the next strand next to it. So up the gold band plus 3. And I went through that top of the feather. And then I went down this strand on this side next to the center line. So I went down 3 and through the gold band. And then that will kind of stop it from flapping around and just hold it in place. So there's his little feather. So now all I have to do is weave in the ends and cut them off, and he is done. So when you're doing his legs, just try and organize his feet the way you want, reinforce his legs and his feet, and he should stay pretty much in place. So I will get on with that, and there you go, there he is. I'm sorry this video is so long, but you know, he is quite involved. So I hope you enjoy this. The really fun thing about this project is actually making them in lots of different colors. You know, you can change their uniforms, decorate them in different ways. They're so cute. I just love them. So if you make these, if you make one or make a pair of earrings or whatever, please tag me on my social media. I'm on Instagram at Jules and Rose, or I'm also on Facebook, Jules and Rose, because I love seeing your work. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, hope you have a good one. I will see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.